You want to know something funny? Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you.
Vigilante who beats people up. Arkham Batman is amazing, but that's the problem. Although Arkham Batman does save people somewhat regularly, that's kind of mostly what he does. He just beats the shit out of the people that he finds.
Ivy, get down!
When he does save people, he doesn't really seem to care too much for them. He almost just like interrogates them and then uses them to move forward with what he needs to do.
Let your hostages go. Take me in their place.
He doesn't seem to care about most people. I feel like this can be displayed in his side characters, especially.
Alfred! Alfred! Alfred, you can't.
Don't add me to the weight you carry.
I should have protected her, Alfred. She's dead because of me.
One of the biggest things that's always grinded my gears about Arkham Batman was one of his, like, very first lines in Arkham Asylum. And it was right after he take down Victor Zsasz. He just calls him an animal.
Someone put this animal back in his cell.
Like, what? It does not seem very heroic, Bruce.
I see anything that looks even a little bit like a bat, and this guard dies. Do you hear me?
You were rescued by Batman. It was quite impressive.
I almost feel like Arkham Batman is just so cold and so inhuman. It's almost as if Bruce actually fell for the Killing Joke's idea that one bad day can reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. Because although he's not a complete lunatic, he certainly doesn't seem like a very sane human being.
In case you need to reach me, it's going to be a long night.
Hey guys, Blue Knight Beyond here. So it's no surprise I love Rocksteady's take on Batman. The Arkham version of Batman is something I've grown attached to over the years. I started playing the Arkham games when I was in first grade in 2014. You know, looking back at it, I probably shouldn't have played those games seeing how dark the series gets sometimes.
You're gonna be spectacular.
Thanks, Dad. Jumping 10 years later, I'm finishing up high school and my love for the Arkham series has only grown more as I've gotten older. Having 100% completing each of the games, learning the development of each installment, as well as getting into the tie-in comics for the games, you could say that I'm very well knowledgeable when it comes to this adaptation of Batman, and I'm very biased when it comes to this version of the character, which I won't deny. So when I saw this video from the Adam Smith titled Arkham Batman Isn't a Great Batman, it immediately grabbed my attention. Seeing how I've seen some of the Adam Smith videos before, like making everyone smile in Arkham City and his Arkham subreddit videos, I was very intrigued of what he had to say about Rocksteady's take on Batman. After all, I love hearing people's take on Arkham Batman, and I'm always curious about people's thoughts of this adaptation of the character. And after watching the video, I was very disappointed with how it turned out. When watching the video, I got the sense that he didn't do much research when getting into the topic, and it felt like the Adam Smith got up to his computer and just hit record on his microphone and started talking. Not to mention, some of the points he was making were either false or him not understanding certain scenes or characters. Now, I understand what his main point was and his criticism, and his follow-up response video about his claims was a little better, but there was still some information that he got wrong. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not here to attack the Adam Smith or his character, and I'm not here to send hate to him. This video is to mainly go over his claims and to correct some information he said that were incorrect, and to lastly defend Arkham Batman. With the intro out of the way, let's get into today's discussion.
When he does save people, he doesn't really seem to care too much for them. He almost just like interrogates them and then uses them to move forward with what he needs to do.
Arkham Batman not caring about the people he saves and only saves them from information in order to move the plot forward is a very weak argument. While at times it does certainly feel like he's only doing this to get information from the people he saves, that's not always the case. Let's take a look into Arkham Asylum at the beginning of the game. The Joker breaks free after being captured by Batman after an incident at City Hall. The Dark Knight begins his chase after the clown, and along the way he saves a bunch of guards and inmate. Kind of. Let's not forget the time when he saved a bunch of innocent people on a bridge from Firefly that he threatened to blow up if any cops showed up. Or how about that clip from earlier where I showed Batman offering himself to Saz.
Are you enjoying my game?
Let your hostages go. Take me in their place.
There are other times when he does the same thing across the 4 games. Now, the Adam Smith did go on to correct his mistake in his second response video, so let's move on to the next point.
One of the biggest things that's always grinded my gears about Arkham Batman was one of his, like, very first lines in Arkham Asylum. And it was right after he take down Victor Zsasz. He just calls him an animal.
Someone put this animal back in his cell.
Like, what? It does not seem very heroic, Bruce. It doesn't seem like you're viewing these people as people, obviously. You're kind of calling them animals. So the reason that I think that Bruce should feel some sort of empathy for these criminals is because most of them aren't just criminals by choice. I mean, it's not like most of Batman's villains chose to be villains anyway. Most of them were forced into it thanks to their past trauma. I mean, Two-Face, Joker, Clayface, and Killer Croc are all brutally easy examples of this, seeing as they literally have cosmetic damage from said past trauma. But even more psychologically damaged criminals like Harley, Professor Pig, or yeah, even Victor Zsasz were highly skilled individuals in their own rights, but use these skills for gross evil rather than good. And I personally believe Batman is best when he believes that anyone can change for the better, even people like Zsasz or Pig. That these people can one day use their past trauma for good rather than evil, like him. Otherwise, what's the point of the no-kill rule? In this case, it just becomes selfish. If Zsasz can't change, he deserves to be killed, not just taken back to Arkham. Bruce is murdering more people by giving Zsasz, Clayface, Croc, Two-Face, Harley, and the Joker than he ever would if he simply stopped the Joker's crime spree then and there.
The next point is that Arkham Batman doesn't show his compassion towards his criminals. Now, this is mostly true. Rocksteady's Batman doesn't have a moment in the games where he has a one-on-one talk with his villains, nor does he have lines like these.
I've seen how you treat your prisoners. Forgotten and scared. Without hope or compassion. Hagen, I offered to help you become human again. The offer still stands. Don't run away. I know you're scared. Confused. I can help you.
Liar, liar, cape on fire.
Most of the time, he acts violent towards them and locks them away, showing zero compassion towards them. However, that's not always the case. There's still some compassion he shows towards some of his villains. Let's look at Two-Face and Arkham Knight. After you complete his side mission, the two exchange in a conversation.
Settle down, Dent.
Don't call me that. He's dead.
I don't believe that.
I wish I was dead. I'm a freak because of you.
That wasn't my fault.
You're the man who put that acid-throwing bastard in the dock. You said we'd save Gotham.
I'm sorry, Harvey.
Two-Face believing Dent is dead, with Batman still believing that his friend is still there and isn't gone, despite what Two-Face says to him. The Arkham Asylum bio for Two-Face states that Batman has tried to reform his fellow friend, which I can only assume a dozen times. Speaking of Arkham Asylum, let's look at times where he shows his compassion. After he takes down Saz, Harley Quinn calls to inform the Dark Knight that she has Quincy Sharp. During the call, Batman offers Quinn to surrender, which she declines. He offers this again with Poison Ivy, the chance to return to herself peacefully. Both characters reject the offer to surrender quietly. This shows that the Dark Knight has some form of compassion. There are other examples of Batman showing some type of compassion, like him attempting to save Crane from Croc, giving Ra's the chance of redemption, or what about Mr. Freeze? In Arkham City, Batman gives Victor his suit back, finds his wife, and tells Freeze to give up a life of crime. In Origins, he saves both Noir and Freeze from Boyle. In Night, there's a moment in the DLC where Freeze is about to shoot Batman in exchange for Noir. Batman doesn't move or even attack Freeze, but remains standing still, showing no movement, saying that if he trusts Scarecrow's army, then he can take a shot. After some thought, Freeze decides to stand down, showing the respect they have developed over the games. Yes, Batman did pull Freeze's life support in Arkham City and did spill some of it, and the two did exchange in a fight. This is a flaw that Batman has in his character. When he's not in control of his situation, Batman will amp up the violence in order to achieve his objective. Note that he only did this because Freeze wasn't cooperating with him, and when he asked Freeze how to get past his ice gun, he only did this to get Freeze motivated when he refused to help Batman. Although Batman does show his compassion towards his villains like Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, and Baby Doll, just to name a few, there are villains where he doesn't show his compassion, most notably the Joker. So when looking into Arkham Batman, there are clearly some villains he has given up on. Joker, Harley, Clayface, and Saz, with good reasons. Saz is a complete psycho, killing his victims because he thinks it will save them, and then carving himself to remember the people he's killed. All we know about Saz is that he lost his parents and used to be rich until he wasted it all on gambling. If you ask me, he really brought this all to himself with nothing really big going on in his life. Clayface, a character who is often portrayed as a tragic figure, grappling with the consequences of a disfigurement accident and subsistence reliance on the transformative crate, adds a thought-provoking exploration of personal struggle and moral ambiguity, adding depth and immersive renaissance to the character. However, this is the B-Task version of Clayface and not the Arkham's version. The Arkham's version of Clayface is more connected to his Golden Age counterpart. Horror film icon Basil Karls went mad when he uncovered plans for his most classic film to be remade with a different actor in the lead role. He took on the mask of the film's villain, Clayface, and killed some of the remake's cast and crew before being stopped by Batman and Robin. Later, Karl stole and injected himself with experimental compounds that transform him into a massive living clay who can alter his composition to mimic anything or anyone. The betrayal of Batman's villains in the Arkham series is a departure from the B-Task version. While characters like Two-Face and Mr. Freeze are depicted as tragic figures, others like the Joker, Penguin, and Saz are irredeemable villains. This raises the question of why Batman doesn't kill them. The answer lies in Batman's unwavering commitment to preserve human life, even the lives of the most vile criminals.
You and I aren't so different, Batman.
I beg to differ.
Of course you do. But think it through. We both punish the guilty. You on some revenge-driven crusade, and me on a sacred mission from a higher power.
Life is sacred, Zaz. You'll never understand that.
Why?
I told you, I'm no killer.
And you think that means there's no blood on your hands? You should have let him die.
Ra's kills for his cause. I never will.
Stubborn. Stupid fool. It's why she loved you.
His responsibility is to stop them, not ensure their rehabilitation. That's Arkham's role.
He doesn't seem to care about most people. I feel like this can be displayed in his side characters especially. Should we even get started on how Tim Drake is treated pretty much throughout the entire series? I mean, he has one appearance in City, and he gets treated like dog. Bruce tells him to f off, basically. In an Arkham Knight, it's, he gets shoved in a cage. He gets shoved in a crate. And, yeah, that's that.
Batman not caring about his allies and friends is the most ridiculous thing in his video. The whole rooftop scene with Batman and Robin is not Batman telling Robin to f off. While some may view Batman's actions as uncaring towards Robin, it's crucial to understand the urgency of the situation. Batman's decision to have Robin search the hospitals for potential Joker toxic victims is not a sign of him not caring about Robin. He is mainly concerned about preventing further deaths and trying to stop the spread of the deadly toxin to save as many lives as possible. Although it might seem easier for Robin to accompany Batman, the risk of not searching the hospitals for possible Joker infections significantly raises the stakes. Smith points out that Alfred should have taken the blood samples to the hospitals rather than Robin. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense, considering the practical difficulties Alfred may face in convincing hospital staffs to look into their blood donors. Additionally, Alfred would have to make multiple trips to different hospitals to check for contaminated blood. Therefore, Batman setting in Robin instead of Alfred is the best decision he could have made. The absence of Alfred in the game may seem puzzling, but it's worth noting that there may have been additional context or cut dialogue that could provide a deeper understanding of his absence.
Alfred, can you hear me?
Just, sir. I'm afraid the noise of all the reporters, film crews, and helicopters outside Wayne Manor rather drowns you out. Now, if you would excuse me, I have 500 cups of tea to make.
Which leads to the next point. Why did Batman lock Tim in a cell? Well, there are a couple of answers to this question. The first one is that Batman is afraid. To truly understand this, we need to delve into the events of Arkham Knight and Arkham City. The story of Arkham City ended in failure for Batman. He was unable to prevent Protocol 10 from being executed, resulting in the destruction of several inmates and buildings. Additionally, he failed to save Talia and Joker, leaving him with a heavy sense of guilt. As Arkham Knight unfolds, Batman faces further losses, such as Barbara Gordon and losing Jim's trust in him. These events combined has left Batman incredibly paranoid and fearful. He dreads losing Tim just as he lost Barbara, Talia, and Jason. The Arkham Knight's imminent knowledge of Batman's allies' tactics has only increased Batman's paranoia. Batman struggling with the Joker's toxin, which threatens to take control of him, further complicates the situation. Under these circumstances, Batman believes that locking Tim in a cell is the only way to ensure his safety. Though extreme, this choice is consistent with Batman's character, as he has a history of pushing away his allies when fear takes hold. This behavior is evident in various adaptations of Batman, including the Lego Batman movie, the New 52 version of Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, the Batman 2004 show, Tomorrow vs. Batman, and even BTAS Batman. The version of Batman that the Adam Smith praises so much about has done similar behavior. In the episode Robin's Reckoning, Batman refuses Robin's assistance in apprehending Tony Suko out of fear of losing him, instructing Robin to remain in the Batcave until the mission is completed. The pattern is also seen in the Return of the Joker movie. After saving Tim from the Joker's brainwash, Batman disbands the Bat family and forbids Tim to bring Robin again. I'm not saying that it was a wise decision to lock Tim in a cell, nor do I agree with Batman. I don't think we're supposed to agree with Batman. I think we're supposed to be against the whole Tim locking in a cell, but I understand why he did what he did, and I understand that. Additionally, Batman recognizes the potential of Robin being emotional upon learning about Barbara's death, realizing the effects that might have on Robin's emotional state. This was evident in Robin DLC, where Robin's behavior displays notable changes, characterization by heightened anger and recklessness, born out of emotional strain, getting shot by Two-Face and almost dying. I can see why Bruce locked him in the cell for that reason, because he too recognizes the potential flaw.
Concentrate on keeping him out of here. He's a dangerous man. You're emotional. You'll make mistakes. Leave him to me.
You know that the Joker has Jason. How the f don't you search Arkham Asylum? Like, what the f? And within 6 months of giving up on his clearly very investigative and thorough search, he just replaced it with a different Robin. 6 months! And I'm not talking like 6 months and then, like, you know, he started training Tim. I'm talking 6 months and Joker shows Jason a picture of Tim in the field. Like, dude, I like, what? Did Bruce give him like a week? Clearly he cared for him a lot. He didn't look for him and he replaced him pretty swiftly.
I've been thinking a lot about the backstory of Jason Todd, the second Robin, and how it was portrayed in the Arkham series. The game and the tie-in comics have had some differences from the original story. Instead of being killed by the Joker, Jason is tortured and brainwashed, ultimately becoming the Arkham Knight with a vendetta against Batman. Some fans believe that Batman replaced Jason with a new partner, but I personally believe that Batman was still searching for Jason when he recruited Tim. The storytelling in the Arkham series can be frustrating, but through the dialogues, character bios, and tapes, we can piece together a clearer picture of what happened. It's essential to remember that the Joker is a master manipulator, and we shouldn't take everything he says at face value. It's possible that Batman did give up on Jason and was still trying to find him. The brief lines from Oracle and Batman support this, and it's unlikely that Batman would lie to Jason about what happened.
What's the matter? Lost for words? Expected more. I'm hurt.
Joker sent me the film. I saw him kill you.
Don't you dare lie to me! How long did you wait before replacing me, huh? A month? A week? I trusted you! And you just left me to die!
That's not what happened.
Jason, this is wrong!
This is justice. He left me.
He lost you. and he mourned for you. Come home.
I believe that Batman needed more time to help find Jason and did not simply replace him, which is why he recruited Tim Drake to help him find Jason faster. Tim is considered the second world's greatest detective. With his help, he could find Jason faster. However, they didn't find Jason after Joker sent the tape to Batman. It's unclear what happened next, but what we do know is that Batman feels extremely guilty. During the Harley Quinn mission, Batman mistakenly calls Tim Jason, indicating that he still misses Jason Todd and still considers him the second Robin, even though Tim is now the full-time Robin.
Everything okay? You look spooked.
I'm fine, Jason. Tim.
You haven't done that for a while. There's one left. Come on.
Arkham Batman is not a great Batman was one that I didn't even realize until very recently. Funny enough, the ending of Arkham City when he goes to save Talia instead of the entirety of Arkham City, who's currently being destroyed by missiles from helicopters. And Bruce, his first thought is, no, I need to save Talia. The Arkham City Talia scene feels brutally out of left field after Bruce had spent 2 games being the unfailing savior of Gotham City, and he just almost decides to throw it all away, even if this had, at the time, been the hardest night of his life. Bruce and Talia also don't really actually mention that they've spent that much time together. They literally talk about one single night that they had together in Metropolis, and not much else. The League doesn't train Bruce to our knowledge in this universe either, so we really don't know that much more. I gotta say, I have a big problem with the assumptions that happen in the comments. People are like, oh, we only see Bruce on his worst nights. We have to assume that he's better on his other nights. Like, no, we don't. We see how he is on these nights, and we don't see how he is on these other nights. So why the hell would we assume things that we don't see? It's a massive fallacy. Also, the comparison of Talia, who Bruce at minimum had a one-night stand with.
The Adam Smith argues that Batman's actions in Arkham City were out of character, especially when he had to choose between saving Talia or the people in Arkham City. However, defenders of Arkham pointed out that he did prioritize going after Hugo Strange before saving Talia. It's evident that Batman deeply cares about Talia due to their history. True that Talia has only mentioned one night they had shared together and not much else, so we really shouldn't assume more about the relationship, right? Wrong. There are several dialogues of characters mentioning that this isn't Bruce's first time meeting Talia or Ra's. In Talia's bio, it states that Batman has run into Talia several times, and in Arkham Knight, Batman knew Talia's sister, indicating that they have met before. I don't understand why fans couldn't assume that Bruce and Talia have had a history together. It's very clear that Batman deeply cares about Talia. In Night, when visiting the GCPD evidence room, Batman takes a moment to reflect on Talia's sword and express guilt for her death. Additionally, Batman feels remorse for dating Selina after Talia's passing. While it's valid to argue that the Arkham games could have further explored the relationship between Bruce and Talia, it's evident that they did have a significant history and a close relationship, although it is kind of out of character for Batman to save someone he knows or loves instead of saving a bunch of random people. It is worth noting that he does do a similar thing in Arkham Knight.
Barbara's the priority. When she's safe, I'll deal with them.
But sir, you have the chance to end this now. Capture Scarecrow and you can save the whole city. It's what Miss Gordon would want.
I'm not losing anyone else, Alfred.
Anyway, that's all the points I want to cover. Like I said before, don't send hate to him. The only reason I wanted to cover this was to correct some misunderstanding that people might have, and second, I love Arkham Batman and I saw a great opportunity to talk about this version of the character. Before I go, I want to let everyone know that the next video will be Batman Cape Crusader. The show will be dropping in a few days from now, so do expect a review for that show soon. I hope. Anyway, take care and I'll see you next time. Bye.